You run marathons, mate.
Good afternoon, fellas.
Hey, good afternoon, JB. Good afternoon, Chris. Welcome.
Hey, CJ. Hey, Jack.
Hey, brother. How are you? Yeah, look, I'm really good. Bit cold. CJ's just showing off and telling us how hot it is over there. So he's not cold, mate, but me and you are. So
yeah. Oh.
We got to do one of these over in Bali at some stage.
Yeah.
Yes, mate. Yeah, come over to Bali. We'll do one of these. This is a gig, I guess. My wife had an appointment around lunchtime, so I went with her to see what that was all about. But then I walked back. She took off somewhere else, so it was pretty hot. The walk coming back here. It's probably about 5K.
It's good for you, mate. It's good for you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyway, before we get into Chris and a little bit of his story, take it away with your acknowledgement, brother.
All right. Well, I'm only going to acknowledge here today probably the Balinese people, I suppose. They have their own language and culture here compared to Indonesia, which is the overall sort of, makeup of Indonesia. So Bali's in Indonesia, but it's kind of like its own country. So I'm going to acknowledge the country. I'm on their land. Have been for the last probably month or two. So it's been a privilege. It's always lovely to come to Bali, as everyone who's been here knows. But I'm also going to have a shout out to home. So home for me is the Yurinji people up in Gimu, which is Cairns, and also the Torres Strait Island family as well. My ancestors up there. So at Badu, so the Badigal people. So I'd like to just acknowledge them, but also pay my respects to elders, past and present. Thank them for all they've done for us to be here today. So I'll hand it back to you, JB.
Beautifully said, brother. Well done. I too just want to acknowledge the traditional custodians, where we all work, meet and play, and just pay the utmost respects to all our elders past, present, and any up and coming, and all our old people, our ancestors, for fighting that fight for us to be able to get where we are today and continue on, doing what we need to do. I want to acknowledge my mob, the Muddy people down there in southwestern New South Wales, and just pay the utmost respects to all my old people and my ancestors and the elders past, present, and any up and coming. And just want to pay tribute to everyone's mob that's watching in tonight. So thank you. And now we're going to hand it over to Chris, the running lumberjack Rainer. So,
hey guys, I'd like to acknowledge the land I'm on in Toowoomba as well, and the mob and family that I've been welcomed into with Jack and the Mivimbar mob. So thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me on today. This is new for me. I tune in every now and then when I get a chance with Jack and CJ. So, what do you want to talk about?
You're welcome, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But tell us a little bit about yourself, brother, and a little bit of your background, and then we can talk about what you're up to these days.
Well, I suppose bit of background. I grew up in the health industry, working with my folks. We started in farming and then got into the health industry. Very long story short, went out on my own and started in the building industry. Always been into sport. Since we've met, Jack, we kind of shortly after we met, we met on a pretty big 100K run, doing the 24-hour for Mivimbar. But I've always been involved in sport. Always, the way I look at it personally is just having something to challenge yourself, and it's even in team sports. And I know you guys have probably done some of these over the years. Having a team sport that you can share with, but also having something you can do on a personal level, where you can challenge yourself and push beyond your own limits is kind of what I've endeavored to do in both work and personal life. So, in the couple of years we've known each other, I started running shortly before we met, which has been an exciting part of my life. The reason I started it is I saw this lovely lady named Courtney who had done a 200-mile race over in the Moab Desert in Utah. And I saw that she had beaten the second position runner by, I think it was 10 hours or 20 hours.
Wow.
And made a record at the time. And stupid me goes, I reckon I could do something like that. And so I started running. And that's and then about a year and a half later, that's when we kind of met. A year to a year and a half later, that's when we met, Jack.
Can I just jump in there too, CJ, and just tell you how friggin' mad this bloke is? Like, seriously, you know, for me, it's incomprehensible because you know, like with everything that we do, we need to have that that training background, you know, and the build up to it and all that sort of stuff. But this lad, I can tell you right now, is an absolute freak because, you know, like he come down to our challenge, our Move from Middenbar challenge, a 24-hour challenge, where me and Scotty, as you know, we're running for 24 hours. And he come down and he was going to run 21 Ks and he was going to just mix it up with all the different runners and then go home. This lad, I can tell you right now, he ran 100 Ks with me. And then backed up the next morning, him and his beautiful wife, Sonia, and little Jax, and cooked everyone breakfast. So that's the sort of lad that, and the sort of, I suppose it's just that strength and that resilience and those sort of things that we always talk about with our mobs, CJ, you know, that, you know, just to see, but I stir him up and tell him he's mad, but seriously, he's just got such a strong-willed mind that it's not funny. And even when we did the Toowoomba half marathon a couple of weeks ago, Chris come and run it as well, and he hadn't even done any training. I think he'd done 4K training run and finished in two and a half hours, you know. So there you go.
It was good fun.
So
I can't hear CJ. Is he talking?
Oh, he is too.
Sorry, mate. No, that's what I was getting that feeling when he's talking earlier about, you know, only just taken up running and then he turns up and he starts running. You know, it's kind of, you know, so I don't know how long before you started running before you got to the Gold Coast to do that marathon, that 24-hour thing. But it seemed like a short space of time, Chris.
Yeah. So, so leading up to the 24-hour run with Jack, and I can tell you a bit of the history when I first started too, which will give a little bit of perspective. But leading up to the 24-hour run, I think I found out about it 4 or 5 weeks beforehand. Oh, yes. I'm pretty sure from memory, Scotty rang me and said, "Hey, can you come down and run with me and Jack? It'll be a bit of fun. And, you know, we're running for 24 hours, but even if you come down for a couple of hours and just do 10 Ks or 20 Ks with it, that'll be great." And so naturally I sat down with Sonia and I said, "Look, I'd love to go and join them, but we've got so much stuff we've got to do. I think I'll just go down for the morning and do a couple of Ks with them, you know, because they were doing 10 Ks out, 10 Ks back, 10 Ks out, 10 Ks back was pretty much everyone was in the center." And once we started running and having a chat to Jack and getting an idea what his goals were for that 24 hours, we I don't know if you remember, Jack, but we just took our time and made sure we weren't overexerting because that distance was new to you. I'd done it a couple of times beforehand, and we basically were almost on our own for, I'd say, 50% of the day. There was a bunch of people that were great and they were with us at the start. And then I don't know what it was, CJ, but chatting with Jack, and we literally spent 22 of the 24 hours, give or take, beside each other. And I don't think we we would have been talking, I'd say, about 60-70% of the time.
Yeah.
And anyone who's done anything long distance knows that you find the pain cave, you go inside it. And so there was times where we didn't talk. We were just in our own little space. And having that, like, how do you explain it? I find when I'm in the deep waters and I get beyond.
CJ, can you hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you, brother. Yeah. This Chris is frozen.
First 20, 30, 40 Ks or whatever, I find when I get.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Can you hear us?
Someone rang me on the phone, and I'm connected through the phone.
That's right.
But what I was saying was basically once you get to that point where you know it's not easy, and then the body, Jack will know what I'm talking about. Then the body goes, oh, my foot hurts, oh, my hip hurts, or my back hurts, or I'm a little bit hungry, or I'm a little bit thirsty, or I've got a cramp coming on, and then you have to really deal with it yourself. You know, unlike a team sport or unlike a sport where you're on a field and you can go off the field and rest. When you're in these events where you're running through the bush, or like we were running, you know, we've got to get up 10 Ks and we've got to do 20 Ks in a loop. There's just you and the pavement or the track or whatever. You've got whatever's between here and then your body, and you know physically your body can keep moving. And at times it's your mind that goes, oh, I could just rest for another half hour, or I could or another 6 hours. And you know, when we were running together, what part of the beautiful part, and I think Jack and I share this a lot, is that we went through the pain together. We told each other about, well, you don't often get to do it with someone. And so we got to speak to each other about, oh shit, this sucks, or these speed humps are really hills now, and experiencing that pain and being honest with each other about how shit it was, and going, let's keep going, let's keep moving.
Can I jump in there too? Because I mean, along the way, you know, like we'd be complaining, you know, about sore legs and you know, things like that, and then all of a sudden you'd see, you know, like a person in a wheelchair or something like that, and we go, oh shit, we've got nothing to complain about. And then the next time, you know, like we had a sore neck or something, and you'd look around and there was this other lad, you know, with one of the head devices to keep his head still, you know.
Oh, really?
Down. Yeah. So then we thought, well, what's the point in us complaining? You know, like we're doing something that we want to do. You know, and trying to raise some money for our camp as well. But for me, and look, I've said this to Chris a lot, you know, like, and I've said it to a hell of a lot of people. There's now a bond between me and Chris that will never be broken.
No.
Because that's how important that was for me. Because I don't think I could have done the 24 hours if I hadn't had Chris beside me. So, yeah. So, look, there's a lot about pain that you go into and all that sort of stuff. But when you got someone that is willing and able to come with you and do the hard yards with you, you probably worry about them as well, and instead of worrying about yourself. So it's something that's you know, it's just a beautiful bond that'll never be broken. So that's how I look at it. So
yeah. I find that sometimes when you're doing something like that and it's pretty monotonous and you just, you know, go, you run into someone, you start having a yarn, all of a sudden you think, oh geez, we've been doing this for hours, you know. Time goes really quick. But the other part of that, I suppose, is when it does get tough, like you guys are just talking about, it inspires you to go a little bit, you know, a bit further, I suppose, to keep on going type of stuff, you know what I mean? And those conversations, I don't know whether you remember the conversations, but sometimes, you know, you don't, and you think, oh, did I say that, or what did I say? You know, you can't, because you're kind of in this space where you can get a bit jibby jabby, you know, talking about stuff just to keep going.
Definitely.
100%.
100%. Yeah, look, I mean, you're spot on. I mean, and we probably spoke about, you know, everything and anything, you know what I mean? So
we spoke about our past, we spoke about plans for the future, we spoke about challenges we'd have. Yeah, the list went on. And that typically it's funny. A lot of the runs I've done you're typically on your own, because even though you might start 100K and there's 20 or 30 people there or more, once everyone runs off, you every now and then you have someone beside you, but for a majority of the race you're on your own, so you're having those conversations with yourself.
Yeah.
And I try to reframe it back to what I'm experiencing in the day-to-day life, or week to week, or month to month, or year to year life. It's sometimes you have probably the best, and for anyone listening who hasn't done anything like this, the best way of looking at it is, if you look at any period of time in your life, this is the way I look at it anyway. If you look at a week, a month, a year, 10 years, and you go, the things you experience over that period of time, your ups, your downs, your challenges, your positives, time flies, time slows down, all these things, it all happens in that one race. And so it's kind of like, for me, like what I've noticed, especially with the younger generation, not many people are comfortable spending time alone, comfortable spending time with this and this on their own. And you go out and do one of these, and it's like spending a year or 2 years or 10 years of meditation, of reflection, of self-assessment, you know. And I think it's the biggest opportunity for growth. I think it's likened to meditation or getting out on the land, getting back to home country.
I'd have to agree with you there too. I mean, like, that's what it is like, because you're able to, when you're running, and as you say, you're mostly on your own. And I don't want to make this all about running tonight, but it's just an extraordinary story that Chris has got to tell. And it is like you have those thoughts that, you know, go through your head, and all those different things. And when you run with no, like, without AirPods or headphones or whatever you want to call them, it adds another dimension to it, because you're listening to the world around you. You're listening to, you know, if you're doing a trail run, you're listening to the nature. So it is actually like a meditation. So it's
I'll get that just to walk. I'll get the same sort of feelings when I'm walking. I think one of the things I'm training for at the moment, when we go to train, I'm going to do a bit of the Camino way. So just
that'd be good.
So it's about, you know, it's about that reflection. You know, having to think about all the things that happen in your life. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, Chris, it's all that stuff that comes up while you're alone and unsupervised.
Yeah.
It's all good to you. And so you start to listen to yourself a little bit, you know.
And look, the other thing is too, now LB won't leave me alone with either Scotty or Chris or Vanessa Jones. We're not allowed to be left alone these days, because and we have come up with something else, and we might share that later on. So, but it's this is a 2-year one in the making. So it's going to happen 2027. So
nice. Very cool. I think again, just to like reiterate, when you do spend that time alone, the funny thing is, the deeper you go, or the longer you go when it comes to running, the more layers of the onion get peeled, and the more things that you're presenting to yourself. Not like, the thing is, because you're on your own, the beautiful thing about running, and I've always been a team sport guy, is the deeper you go, you're dealing with stuff. You know, like sometimes I think about something 20 years ago that pissed me off about someone that's not even in my life, but for some reason it comes up, and I'll be 80 Ks deep and my legs will be going, I'm ready to give up. And then other times I'll be sitting there. I've ran before, in all honesty. I've been in tears of joy and excitement because I got the privilege of doing it. And the great thing about the trail runs that we do, they're out in the country, they're out on the land. And so you're walking through trails and tracks that have been there for hundreds of years, if not longer. And having this time of reflection. Yeah.
No, it's good for you. It's really good for you, and it's it really is. It's getting away from everything, isn't it? Like look, people these days we're on our phones and on our bloody computers, stuff in our ear, listen to all that sort of stuff. But yeah, get out there on your own. I don't know whether if you ask any young person whether they've done something like that vaccination, they'll probably say no. Because they're always, connected. We're connected. Everyone's connected, by whatever it is. Yeah.
But you're spot on, CJ. But like the thing is, I mean, I'd never thought of doing something like that. Like even probably 10 years ago. So, then you get that. Look, you keep training and you keep training and you keep running and running and running, and you think, why can't I do it? Like it's not a thing about that you can't do it. And that's what, when we come up with the 24-hour challenge, I mean, plenty of people said to me, oh, you're mad, you shouldn't do it because you won't be able to do it. And I guess too, like when people say that to you, of course you're going to dig the heels in and make sure that you do it, so.
Yeah, true, yeah. Hey, listen, I'm going to ask you both a question. So since you did that 24 hour, and I know that, Chris, you've probably done a few extra ones as well, what's the? I'm trying to say, has there been anything that's changed in your life, especially in your social emotional well-being, for instance? How's that? How did that affect or impact on your social emotional well-being after you finished what you've done?
Yeah, for me, I get to know myself a lot more. It's just a belief I've got. As I said before, I think not enough people spend time alone with themselves. As you said, people these days, the phone is their life, and if they don't get attention on their phone, they don't feel valued. And being social and being in front of people, the amount of people I know that they go to work, then they're at the pub with all their mates. Then if they're at home, they're actually going out and spending time with people, whether it's family or friends, which is all important, don't get me wrong. But how many people out there actually sit down and spend half an hour, a day, a week alone? And as I said, it's an accelerated period of time. It's a condensed, because you're going through deliberate, selected, voluntary pain, or what do you call it? It's not right, like a voluntary challenge. You're condensing all that emotional self-reflection in a really short period of time, and pushing yourself. So you have the moments of pride and doubt and all that. So for me, in the practical everyday life, I've got a lot more patience. I tell you that. I typically, and I hope my wife agrees with this, but I typically don't take a lot of my own issues out on anyone else, because I spend a lot of time working on my issues while I'm pounding the pavement or running through the bush. So if that helps answer the question, it's like because I'm dealing with my own shit while I'm out there on the trails, my own shit doesn't come into my everyday stuff as often as it probably used to. That's probably the best way I can explain it. We've all got stuff.
And I'll jump in there too. For me, leading up to it, the training that we did was like a full-time job. So I guess it's a lot like there's a huge commitment that you make, and you're not only making it to yourself, but because we had the raising of the funds and that for our gathering, it was a commitment to everyone that actually donated, and all those people that come out to help in the ground crew and all that sort of stuff, and you realise that there's so many people that support you and love you and do those sort of things, and the self-belief that you get out of that is just amazing. And I know that in 2027 when we're going to do this big one, I got no dramas at all, about doing it. And I know now that I can go out and do like a 50K or 100K, with the right training. So yeah, look, I'm and the amazing people that you get to know, because a lot of the times we know people, but we don't actually get to know them, and with challenges like that, I think that they just give you that time to get to know people's stories, because everybody's got a story. We always say this: everybody's got a story. Everybody wants to tell their story, and everybody needs someone to listen to. So, what a good way of doing it when you're running 100Ks. You get to have a yarn, and you get to tell your story. So yeah, look, I mean, it's something that like a lot of people probably won't understand, because it's something that if you're in it, you know what it is. And I know, CJ, the same. Like even with your walking and that you do, like you got up to 20Ks there a couple of years ago, and things like that. That's a massive effort. You know what I mean? So everything starts to bring in that self-belief, and you can do it, and then you think, well, what's my next challenge?
Yeah. It gets so good that you can't wait to get up and do it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You physically can't, because you're in recovery mode. But you think, oh shit, I'd love to do that again. And also I think the other part of that, JB, and I know that I talked about post marathon and post that marathon you guys did, that all day thing, but pre marathon. Obviously there has to be nerves. I mean, you've got to have a little bit of anxiety in terms of, oh shit, what are we doing? Okay, hope we're getting through this. How am I going to get there? All that kind of stuff, But I know that when you start running, it all goes away. It all drops off.
Yeah. If I can give you an insight to that, the part of the choice that I make when I do one is I try to pick one that's a little bit scary or a little bit exciting. So,
and he's not joking, mate, either.
If I'm untrained, I'll and haven't been doing any training, doing a half marathon is a little bit scary, or anything. But in addition to that, digressing from the running, it applies in everyday life for me anyway. Like, I go, I've been excited about this idea for a few years. I want to start a business. That's a little bit scary. It comes with challenges, ups, downs, lefts, right, and unnavigated terrain. It's the same as running. It's almost a it's a symbol of what you can choose to go through in life. Pick a challenge that's difficult, pick something that's hard, pick something that not everyone does, that excites you but scares you at the same time, and head for it. And so, and JB knows some of the stuff I do outside of running. And the reality is it really aligns with it's an analogy for life. Depending on what industry you're in, pick something that's a little bit scary that you want to achieve, and just go for it and navigate those ups, downs, lefts, rights, and growing pains through it all. And getting ready for a run is you want to, in my eyes, and I know you guys are the same. It's pick something that's a little bit scary. Go for that 20K instead of that 10K walk or something. It doesn't matter what it is, and it also doesn't have to be running. It could be work or a new job or business or something.
Something, yeah. Like even us, we've been over heaps of times to Bali, and coming over here to live is a bit of a, kind of an anxious sort of thing. Whether we're going to be able to handle it, what are we going to do, all that kind of stuff. But now that we're here, we're kind of happy we're here, and Spain will be another challenge for us. You know what I mean, in terms of getting over there and how's that going to go. It's I found that most of my life, I suppose, I've jumped out of comfort zone. So I've always jumped. I don't even know why I jumped out. It was just there, so I went and did it, and that type of stuff. And without even, having the ability to learn, I guess, that ability to learn stuff, and you're not frightened then about jumping into something that you don't know about, and you just pick it up along the way. And I don't have any degrees or whatever, but I'm good at what I do, because I have that attitude where I'll learn this anyway. I'll pick it up quick. So even if you're a bit out of your depth a little bit, you turn it around as you move and do things. You've got to be doing things to be able to get over that that hurdle, I guess. That, like you say, that challenge. Yeah. So it is an analogy for life, mate. And I think that's a good thing about running, no matter whatever you do. I've been in business before. That was scary too. So still in business.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard work. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple of people in there to say g'day to. We've got Derek Wilson there, and he said, evening, brothers. G'day, everyone. He said, g'day, Chris. Chris, you must be related to Cliffy Young, lol. You're definitely a country lad.
Thanks, brother.
Then we've got Deb Doherty. Hello, Deb. She said, evening, guys. And Jeff Senton said, hello, all. And Derek said, my niece and her husband both run regular park runs, and they say it strengthens their bond. Well, it's either going to strengthen your bond or break it. So, yeah.
100%.
But Derek, we love park run as well. So, yeah, look, I must admit.
Yeah, it's good community, yeah, and it gets people into running. You know what I mean? It's a great avenue, local community stuff.
And it's amazing the number of people that get there. I mean, we went to one a couple of weeks ago in Toowoomba, and there were 600 people there. So and we had a time trial, so you can imagine trying to do a time trial with 600 people. So it made it pretty special one. So, but yeah, now Chris, you've got another run coming up very shortly.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Well, I'm not going to say that, brother, but I reckon you are too. Well, I reckon you're mad. That's what I'm saying. I seriously reckon you're mad. Tell us a little bit about it, bro.
So I've been wanting to do this for a while, and the reason I've missed it a few years ago, because I haven't done a lot of training, CJ, for a couple of years. I sort of backed off after I'd done a 100-mile run. A few years back, I sort of backed off and reprioritized a few things in my life. But I'm now at a point where I'm ready to start again. And I've always wanted to do this run, and I was going to do it that year that I did the 100-mile, but it's 4 weeks before or 3 weeks before the 100-mile run gets run. So I always missed it because I wanted to do the big run. And it's a 24-hour run, so it starts on Saturday and it goes until Sunday at 10 a.m. Saturday 10 a.m. and finishes at Sunday 10 a.m. And the crazy thing about it, which is what's drawn me to it, because it's going to be very challenging more for here, is it's a 400-meter loop on a proper Olympic running track. So it's not through nice, beautiful scenery or out in the bush on a trail. It's literally around a 400-meter track. And so I know for here it's going to be a lot harder, because usually, as you guys probably know, and most people know, usually you got anywhere between 7 and 20 Ks between the time you see people at the aid station. And 400 meters is a lot less distance and a lot more opportunity to make up excuses to stop. So
how many on track? How many people?
I've historically, when I've watched it, there's been about half a dozen to a dozen that do the 24-hour, and then at 10 o'clock at night, the 12-hour runners start, and there's usually a lot more of them. There's not many people that are crazy. And then I'm not sure what time in the morning, but there's I think it's quite early. There's a 6-hour session as well on the same track. So they just join in when the time starts, and everyone, I think, finishes at the same time. So it's definitely going to be a different kind of challenge. And what I haven't told Jack is I looked at my numbers on Strava the other day, and I've only ran 94 kilometers this whole year. so far.
Yeah,
And
and you did 21 of those at one go a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah, I'm I won't quite share my goal because I don't like doing it publicly, but I intend on doing over 100 Ks this weekend. So I'll double my yearly Ks in one night, basically. So that's the plan.
And if we hadn't have been going on our little road trip around Western Queensland, we would have been there at least cheering you on and probably doing a fair bit. You know, I couldn't say how many would do, but we would have been there doing a bit as well. So
yeah, it's good. It's good fun. And again, CJ, it's about picking a challenge I'm choosing the pain I'm going to give myself or the challenge, like going to the gym every day. You choose your hardship. So then the hard stuff in day-to-day life isn't that hard. Kind of like jumping in an ice bath in the morning. You know, that 3 minutes in freezing cold environment, if you can get through that, man, it's so much easier to do half a dozen other things in the day that might be hard otherwise.
That's a different challenge altogether. You know, with that, you're running laps of a 400-meter circle, kind of, you know, and seeing same people all the time, and like it's going to be you know. Then you won't have come 12 o'clock or whatever halfway, you'll have more people on the track, and then again after that, it's going to be
The end.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's like when you're running and you go, oh shit, you might leave an aid station in a normal run, and you might have 15 Ks to go, and a K after you leave the aid station, like shit, my knees are sore, or geez, I'm not feeling good, and I've done it. I've been in tears after leaving an aid station sometimes, going, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? I shouldn't be able to do this. I'm 130 kilos. This is crazy. And then you beat yourself. You beat that doubt in your own head 10 Ks later, and all of a sudden you got a second wind and your legs just come alive. And again, it's the same in life. You hit these challenges, and sometimes you get support. Someone on the sideline will go for it. You'll be right. And if in a 400-meter loop, you might feel sore in the legs or something, and you're like, I'm going to see the aids. I'm going to be back at my table or my tent in 400 meters. There's so much excuse to pull out and sit down.
Can I just say the good thing for Chris with the 400 meters, he probably only needs 3 steps to get around the 400 meters. seriously, Chris is a man mountain. How tall are you, brother?
I'm 6'5".
Yeah. So
I don't know which one you are. Yeah, that's it.
So there's a lot of I'm looking forward to it being flat, and I'm also not. Those who know running, anyone who's listening, when you're running through the hills and mountains, it's beautiful because you use different muscles as you're going up and down and left and right and rock scrambling. When you're going on a straight, really flat run, which the 100-mile run I did and the beach 24-hour run we done was reasonably flat. And I tell you what, you're using the exact same muscles almost the whole way, and it's very difficult in a different way. The more terrain there is, it's kind of good because you use different muscles.
Different muscles, yeah.
Can I just say, Sonia's come on and she said, hello, everyone. And Jax, who is Chris's son and Sonia's son, said, you're not crazy, Dad. You can do it. Good on you, Jax.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Yeah.
I love that, mate.
Dad can do it all right, yeah. That's only, what do you say, 250 leaps or laps?
Leaps. That's a good one. I haven't worked out how many laps it is in total. I think if anyone does want to do the lap, I think the math I think I'm intending on doing 403 laps. I think is the plan for the distance I intend on doing. It's a bit more than 100, but 100 is the minimum.
You can calculate about CJ, and we can tell you how far he's going.
Yeah. No, he's about right. I think about 400 laps. That'll get you where you need.
And I'll be sharing the updates through Instagram with Mibam Tag the whole weekend. Sonia and Jax are going to help with that, just to keep everyone posted.
We love that.
Yeah, excellent. That's right. Yeah.
So what day is it, Chris? Just in case anyone's out there that might want
it's
to
on
some admin.
It's on Saturday, and it starts on Saturday 10 a.m. and it's at the Griffith University. They've got an Olympic running track there.
At Nathan, is it? Nathan campus?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I could look it up. I could try to look it up.
Just a tip for you, Chris. You might want to find out where it is before you start, brother.
I can have a quick look. It's it. Griffith University in Southport.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Southport. Sorry, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be a bit of fun and a bit of challenge. Sonia and Jax are going to be there all weekend, and they'll get a sleep. So they're lucky.
Yeah, definitely.
Wish you all the best for that, mate. Stick to the rails, I reckon.
Thanks, mate. Hopefully I get over 100. That's the goal, and my legs keep up. So.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, and so that one happening this weekend, I hear, is it? This weekend coming up?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
And then we got to plan the next one after that.
The next one.
I mean, I do want to say that. I mean, we sort of half planned it, and we're talking about 444 kilometres on the border of Victoria and heading back into New South Wales. So starting from Wodonga, Albury, heading back into New South Wales. And I can't remember what it's called, but LB's been looking at this. And it's actually 426 Ks, but we want to do 444. So we'll see how we go. That's 2 years' time, though. That's 2 years' time. So we've got plenty of lead-up events that we're going to do as well. So
plenty of time to get sleep before the event.
Yeah. Now you're not going to tackle that Sydney Marathon that starts up this year, right? It's on one of the the world marathons like the Boston and the New York. So Sydney's got one. It's been sanctioned as one of those world renowned marathons. I don't know when it is. It must be in September something. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. I don't have to worry about them sort of things, mate. I'm not fast enough for that. So
no. So slow and steady.
Just plod along, mate. Just plod along.
Hey? Plod along.
Plod along.
Yeah. That's what my son did. I think he ran in the Gold Coast Marathon last year. Yeah. And he was after no medals or whatever. He was just wanting to do it. He just did it,
And I think that's the thing, fellas. Like it's for yourself. It's not for anyone else. You're not racing anyone else, and that's the beautiful thing about it. You're in it for yourself, and I remember Scotty Page saying to me, yonks ago, it's a selfish game running, because you have to look after yourself. So, and I thought selfish. I mean, I don't reckon. But now that when you've done these sort of events, you think, well, it is a bit selfish, and you do have to look after yourself and all those other things as well. And people come and help you. So sometimes you do have to look at it like that. You are a little bit selfish, but it's something that gives you that buzz that you never get. I mean, and I remember like after we finished that 24-hour challenge, I couldn't walk for 3 days. You know what I mean? So it was like walking around. I probably needed a wheelchair. I couldn't get up any steps or anything like that. So,
oh, geez.
Yeah, it's tough stuff. Tough.
Yeah. To add to that, and Derek's just said he's got to go, but he's right. The support team at that 24 hours, and Sonia and Jack constantly support me on some of my crazy adventures. I tell you what, it doesn't happen. It's a team sport. As much as we were talking before, CJ, like when you're when you're between those areas, you're definitely on your own, and it's all here and it's all here. When you come in and see your crew, see your family, and see the event team, it becomes a team sport in those moments. And I tell you what, like JB said before, to get through those events and get through that 24 hours that we did, it's you sometimes you need that team all the time.
Because we described it as like when we were running, say we went out 10 and come back to 10, and by the time you get back and you've got all these people at base camp, and it's just like a big celebration. So you get lifted by that, then you have your little bit of a rest, and then you're off again and you do the same. And it's just an amazing feeling to come into all that love, because that's what it was. It was all love, so I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, and it's something that you never forget, you know what I mean? So
yeah, that'd be good. It's always always a welcome sight when you're running in and you've got your team along, clapping your hands, all that sort of stuff.
And the amazing work that there's people that stayed the whole 24 hours, you know what I mean? So it just amazes me to think that people were willing to give up a good night's sleep to come and stay the whole distance, the whole time, so
that's right.
And
what I like about
CJ.
What I like about it, it's not only it's both. It's a physical challenge, a mental challenge, isn't it? So you're challenging your body to be able to do something that if you haven't done it before, or if you've been training to do it, it becomes real after that. That you have to do it. You've got to get in and do it. You know what I mean? And so everything needs to be on the same page the day of the event. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if it isn't on the same page, it gets quickly on the same page when you step up to the line. You know what I mean? And start taking off, because you just got to do it. And I think that it's that physical and the mental kind of toughness that comes out of it once you've done. You realise you can get through anything. I can get through this. I can get through anything. You know what I mean? Any challenge, like you say, put in things in perspective. JB, you said you saw some bloke in a head brace and all of this stuff when you're running, and you're thinking, wow, I think we've got problems. So I think he's going to,
You seriously look at it like that, brother. Like you think, because here me and Chris were whinging to each other. Oh shit, I got a sore hand. I got this, I got that. And then you see someone in a wheelchair, and we just looked at each other, shook our heads, and go, okay, let's keep going.
Shut up. We don't need to.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
It seriously was, like it's just an amazing leveler, if you like. So, So, but I could talk about this all night, but I did want to just hear a little bit about the work you've been doing, Chris, too, and some of your plans on some of that stuff that you're doing as well, brother, if you can.
Yeah, more than happy to share. I'll share what I can so far, because we've, as you know, there's a few things we're waiting on confirmation of, but we've got some plans to basically an all-encompassing plan. So the foundation of it is to build some affordable housing, which I think everyone can agree we need everywhere at the moment. We've found a place that's out near where JB and LB live at the moment. Thankfully and coincidentally, it's out in the same place, past Toowoomba. But it's we're hoping that the stars align and we can build a three in the 3 digits kind of number, 100 plus. As a part of that process, we're putting together plans and hopefully working closer with Mivimbar to put together some plans to actually use the building of these actual individual dwellings as a way to train people that are unskilled maybe to enter the trade field. Make them a part of this process to learn how buildings work, how housing works, how the particular system we're using is very quick and very efficient in building, and show what's possible, because we can do that anywhere around Australia, whether it's remote or close to the cities. And a part of the land which I've shared quite at a bit of length with Jack is with the area's 50 acres. It's a nice, reasonable size, and we hope to have an area where we can use that area for further training, not only trade related, building related training, but also skills training, skills development, animal husbandry type stuff, hunting, hopefully, and also plants and vegetation and all that stuff. So encompass an area where we can do that, and also have any kind of training run out of the same facility. So we want to have a space on the land where anyone can come in. You want to do a workshop with 50, 100 people, we want to have a space over time, have a space where people can come in and do that. Have hopefully a Mivin gathering and others that we can facilitate. So it's been a 10-year talk about going 100 Ks and having challenges up and down and left and right and trying to get through it. I've been planning this for over 10 years. And I tell you what, there's been some pretty significant challenges and some repeat challenges, which typically come from places like council or the like. But one thing I can say, everything not only feels right, but everything is from the crossing the T's and dotting the I's is going the right direction this time. And I don't think in previous renditions of this we've had so much support from just about everyone we've shared this with. I think everyone can agree that it's needed, but throw on top of the housing, throw all these other layers that we're trying to throw on. So it's a bit like a 100K run with 20 mountains instead of just a straight flat run. If that's a good analogy, it's got its challenges. But yeah, it's doable. We've got the right team and got the right people around us now. So
there is a huge problem in Australia, and I guess it's something providing some solutions in terms of being able to accommodate want affordable housing. I guess they're finding it unaffordable at the moment. Anywhere in Australia, just ridiculous. You know what I mean? So. But it's great. I think that's a good plan. In terms of also professional development, some of the skills attributions that can happen there. You know what I mean? Certainly opportunity for us to people to get involved in that. I always think about building my own house, and, being able to do that type of thing. This sounds like a great place to do that if that's part of the philosophy, I suppose, in terms of, this is our house, we built it, type of stuff.
We hope that at least a large majority of people who live there and stay at the place help us build some of them, even if it's just temporary, come on board to help build a couple. And the building method, I don't want to bore you with the details, but we can build like a studio cabin in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Like it's a really incredible building system, and so we want to demonstrate that. I hope Lise and Jack can come along and see it, because if there's an emergency flood in some rural town somewhere, we literally could go there and build 20, 30, 40 houses in a month. It's that quick. It's really exciting, and teach the people that live there how to do that too. It's not just about having us. A lot of builders and not so much developers, but builders, they just want to be the only ones building it. No, we can show everyone how to build it. We can, if you ever need this anywhere or a flood comes through again, we can just throw some trucks up there. You'll know how to build it after we show you. Really, really great.
Sensational.
Exciting, exciting stuff. Yeah. That's what's your time frame around that, Chris? Depending on
ASAP. Look, dude, we've. I try not to be too optimistic, because often I put it this way: if if I ran any business like councils or government run their things, I'd go under in no time. In private industry, private business, you operate as efficiently as possible, as quick as possible, and stuff. So it's very difficult. But to answer your question, we're looking inside 12 months. If everything went smooth, and let's face it, it's not likely to run completely smooth, but if everything went smooth, we could have the first house or the first cabin built inside of 6 months.
Yeah.
But if I said 12 months, I think that would be a safe bet.
Safe. Yeah. No, well, I wish you all the luck with that too, brother. I'd love to be able to come down and see that happen at some stage. Yeah. But,
I mean,
no, great.
It's just such a beautiful community space that will eventuate, because, like as Chris said as well, it's not only about people helping, with the building side of things, but there'll be, from what we've talked about, there'll be other opportunities for, maintenance crews and garden crews and all that sort of stuff as well, later on. So it's just amazing. And I just think that, it's such a worthwhile thing that can happen. And because we all know about the desperate needs and, the homelessness and the amount that, it costs to rent anywhere these days. It's just unbelievable. So
ridiculous. Yeah. And to help, without going to bore anyone too much, but the emphasis for me is definitely on what Jack's just shared. It's like I want to make sure that let's say someone for some reason had to move out of town or come from country, and they had to be around this area, and hopefully we build more of these. Like, hey, look, come, we'll give you some work, even if it's temporary, or even if you want to create a business out of it, a landscaping business or a garden maintenance. The place is going to need upkeep. The houses are going to need upkeep and expansion, and like all the aspects of it. We don't intend on building it and selling it like another developer. We intend on holding it and keeping the ethos and the desire we have to really service the community, and again have that community space, but also have people in the community in that little space that have built one or two of the houses that can talk about it and own it and be proud of it.
Yeah, well said.
So thanks for letting me share that.
No
worries, brother. Inspired. Yeah, fantastic work.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, brother. I mean, we'll have to get you back on again to come on and give an update whenever maybe even after your big run, brothers. See what sort of Ks we're talking about. So
if anyone's got a spare wheelchair or crutches, just rock up at the event on Sunday. I'll probably need it.
And Sonia has put it up there too. So it's Butter 24 this Saturday at Griffith Uni Southport campus. So thanks, Sonia.
Yeah, if you want to get along to that, if you're around in the local region and down the Gold Coast there, get down and check it out.
Yeah. And if you want to do a run, I think they got some like 2-hour runs and that as well. Just look up Butter 24 AAA Racing and just pick one and sign up for it. I know they've got a kids run on the Sunday, so Jax will be jumping in there.
He will too, won't he? Yeah. Now I've got to ask you, Chris, you're coming to Barossa Valley to do the half.
When's that?
End of August.
Yeah, if the wife lets me, because we've got a baby due in September, so I don't know if she's going to be at home doing.
Scratch that.
No.
And the other thing too, CJ, Chris has got a birthday coming up next this month. This month it is.
Yeah.
I'm
turning 40,
birthday,
so
we're going to say happy birthday. So
Yes,
CJ's going to
also.
sing to you, mate. He'll sing to you.
Nah, yeah. Happy birthday, mate. Yeah, for
Thanks,
your
brother.
40th. When it comes up, brother, you'll be thinking of you. What's the
Thanks,
date?
mate. It's on the 18th.
On the 18th. Okay, that's good. That's
Yeah.
easy to remember. Oh, I was on the 8th. So, yeah,
Yeah,
8th,
yeah.
yeah, good stuff. Oh, well.
So
Well,
thank you. And that's why one of the reasons I wanted to do this run too, so I could, really. Again, I'm turning 40. It's, though I was saying to one of the guys today, I said, 90% of the time I still feel like I'm in my 30s, but that 10% of the time, I tell you what, I definitely feel older than 40. So,
Yeah.
about time I tick that off and go do something crazy again before my birthday and see where it leads.
I've just got a couple of tips for you, brother. And I know you already know this, but you're going to be very sore come Monday next week. So
that's right. I won't turn around the next day and do a 5K time trial.
No.
Like last time. Yeah.
Mate,
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
been a
for
pleasure having
CJ.
you on.
Enjoy Bali, mate.
joining us.
Oh,
Yeah, and we'll share this around and see how we go, brother. So
And
All right.
good luck in Spain too, mate.
no worries, mate. Yeah, that's a couple of months away, so we're sort of getting ourselves ready. Michelle's preparing herself for the surgery she's got to have over there, so it's it's all going to plan at the moment. So yeah, all good.
Awesome.
you behave yourself too, CJ.
Mate, did you hear? She's having the surgery, so I'm the support person. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to get out of the Camino way and just be by myself for a little while.
You might need to get a bottle or something too, brother.
Oh, I can't get. I had a drink for bloody nearly 5 years, brother. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
A little bit of sangria won't hurt, will it? That's
Yeah, 100%. That doesn't count.
alcohol-free, sangria or something.
All right, fellas.
That'll do the trick.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.